Hey, so you're thinking about moving to Henderson here in Nevada, and you're kind of wondering what are the best tips in terms of what do I need to know before I move? How can I make the process a bit smoother? Is there anything that I need to be aware of that I might not have considered? Well, stick around for this video because in this video, I'm going to go through some of the things that I maybe wish I actually knew as well myself before I moved to Henderson, but also some of the things that I believe will make it a much smoother process for you. It's going to be in no particular order, but if you tick all of these things off, then I believe it'll be a much smoother process. And we're going to start right now. So today we're talking about Henderson, and Henderson's a fantastic place to move to and call home. I live in Henderson myself, so I'm obviously going to be biased. But still, at the end of the day, I believe you can't go too wrong with living in Henderson. I mean, it's got a decent cost of living compared to other comparable places within the country. It's got the rating as one of the safest cities. It's got a great school district. It's got some great outdoor activities, whether that's hiking, whether that's walking and cycling trails, whether that's some of the parks. You know, Vegas in general is a great destination now for some live sport entertainment with all the sports that we have coming here. So it's a great place to call home, and I can understand those of you who are looking at calling Henderson home, looking into it a little bit more. But what are going to be the main things to consider that are probably not as exciting as the whole process, and some little things that you should really be thinking about at this stage, especially if you're at the start of that journey and start of the research. So I'm going to go through some things now that I think will make it a lot easier for you, and at the end of this video, hopefully you'll have a bit more of a direction of which way you want to go and some of the things you should tick off your box as you go through the process. So the first thing is going to be identifying your location and your criteria. Henderson is home to some of the best neighborhoods within the whole of the Las Vegas Valley. You know, there's Green Valley, which has Green Valley North, Green Valley South, Green Valley Ranch. There's McDonald's Ranch and McDonald's Highlands. There's Anthem, there's Inspirada, there's Cadence, there's Seven Hills. I mean, there's so many great neighborhood options to choose from. And those neighborhoods, some of them have homes that are similar style and some of them have homes that are not. You know, some of the areas will have a Mediterranean influence. Some of them are going to be more modern. Some of them are going to be more single story, sort of older homes. So it's all going to come down to what you're looking for in a neighborhood. Sometimes I see people make the mistake though of falling in love with a home. So they'll start the process, they'll see a home on somewhere like Zillow and they'll fall in love with that home without actually looking at the wider neighborhood. And sometimes you need to actually go backwards and actually, you know, figure out what neighborhood you want to be living in and then go from there. And then once you know the area that you want to live in within Henderson and what neighborhood you would consider living in, then you build from there on what your criteria are going to be. So what are you looking for in a home? How many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, what type of floor plan? Do you want 1-story, 2-story, gated or non-gated? You know, pool, non-pool, big yard, not worried about a yard. All of the things that are exciting to be choosing for and thinking about in a home. That's when you do that. I would say do that after you've picked your neighborhood, or certainly don't pick a home before you've picked a neighborhood. Obviously, you should have an idea of your main criteria, but you should also then, before you start looking at homes, you should also decide on your neighborhood. And also, as you're going through the process, you know, your criteria will change, especially when you start looking at homes. You know, things that you thought were important to you and non-negotiable are suddenly going to be, you know, I can give that up and I can trade that if we're going to have this and something that you hadn't considered before. So I see it happen all the time. And I also see it happen all the time where I have clients who have looked at a home, decided that they want to go for that home or certainly want more information. They've fallen in love with the home. And then when we go and look at the neighborhood and the wider neighborhood, then they're a little bit more put off when they see the actual surrounding area. So obviously you can do some of that on Google and you can go through Street View as well, which is fantastic. Or, you know, if you connect with me, I'll put my details down below there so you can reach out to me at any time. If you connect with me, I can certainly go and do a live Zoom tour and give you some more in-depth on those individual neighborhoods as well. But definitely something to consider, location and criteria, but get your neighborhood before you start looking at individual homes. One of the next points to consider is going to be rent versus buy. Now, I'm not here to say one of them is wrong, one of them is right. I'm not going to convince you. Even if you contact me, I'm not going to convince you. And I'm sure many of you who have already reached out to me and we've had these conversations with, you'll know for sure I will not convince you. If you want to go and rent first rather than buying first, I'm not going to convince you otherwise. Ultimately, it's your decision and you've got to decide what's best for you. But what you do need to decide is if you are going to rent, then you need to decide how long you're going to rent for. Do you want to just do a short-term rental? Do you want to have that furnished, get situated in the area, maybe spend a month, 3 months, 6 months, whatever it's going to be, just getting really settled into the area, sort of knowing more about the neighborhoods and more about the commutes and where you're going to work and what your day-to-day is going to look like. If you want to do that on a short-term basis first by renting, by all means do. Definitely, something to consider. I certainly rented here when I first moved here, before I sort of got to know a lot more about the neighborhoods, before I became a real estate agent. And then when I knew where we definitely wanted to buy within Henderson, then we pulled the plug and we started to look at buying. But one of the things I wish I would have done would maybe be, if I was renting, to maybe do it as a more of a short-term rent rather than being stuck in a lease. We were stuck in a 14-month lease and we tried to end it after 8 months, and there was a ridiculous high fee and an extra few months rent that we had to pay to break it. It was worth it in the long run because obviously the rates were a lot better when we were buying. But still, if I would have, considered maybe doing a short-term rental, then I definitely would have navigated that issue. And if you're deciding on buying, then, you need to make sure that you're firm, that you're set, that this is definitely the move you want to make, that you're 100%, this is going to be where you're going to be living for the next few years. You're comfortable in the research that you've done. If you're, talking to me and dealing with me, that we have that trust in that relationship as well. So definitely, whatever way you want to go, there's different, caveats to think about, whether that's going to be renting or if you're going to come straight in and purchase. Also, if you're selling a home in the area that you're moving from, then you're going to have that timeline to consider as well. I'm going to touch on that a little bit later in one of the other points. But just, something to think about if you're thinking about renting or buying. I would say if I was going to do it again, I would rent, and I'd rent for maybe 1 to 3 months, get situated, and then look at purchasing. So definitely, again, if that's something that you want to consider and you want help on the rental side, definitely reach out and I'll be able to help you the best I can. The next thing to consider is going to be a custom home search. Now, whether you're looking at renting or buying, or you want to combine both and you want to say, hey, Peter, I'm going to rent for 1 to 3 months, but I also want to look at what's on my options in terms of buying. I can set you up on a couple of different search options, whether that's for renting or buying or both together. And what that'll do is then that'll send you properties that are relevant through the things that we've discussed. And obviously, we'll have a lot of in-depth conversations and going through that and what's important to you and getting to know not just you as a home buyer or a renter, but you as a person and the things that are really going to be important to you in terms of your overall standards of living as well. And then those property alerts, they'll go out to you probably twice a week if you want it more frequent, or if it's getting closer to the deadline, we can absolutely do it as soon as possible, as soon as something new hits the market. But as well as the automated ones, where there's less option to customize it if you've got a lot of things that are important to you or on your wants or needs list. Also, if I see things then that are separate that have maybe not been sent to you, or I see something pop up on the market that I think is going to be great for you, whether that again is rental or buying, you'll get the exact same service from me. I'll ping that over to you directly, and that way you know if it isn't part of the normal search items that are coming to you. If it's pinged directly from me, then you know something that I've actually looked at and thought, hey, this is going to potentially work for you. Definitely you want to check that out. And again, it's going to come down to that trust in that relationship, but I can only speak from my side as a real estate agent. I love helping my clients find the properties that are right for them. I don't really distinguish my service between if you're buying or renting, because I believe everybody is the same. And who knows what's going to happen. A renter can become a buyer in the future, whether that's in 6 months, a year, 5 years. So you'll definitely get the same service from me. So don't be thinking you can't reach out to me if you are looking to rent before buying, because I know what it's like when you're moving across state borders, and it's terrifying actually. I was a bit scared at the first thought of it, about buying a home and the landscape and how it looked like. So definitely do reach out. Give me all the information that you can. The more detailed, the better, because then I can make sure that rather than a whole host of properties, you're just getting ones that are really specific to what you're looking for. And also you can go through them and yay or nay them, and you can say, hey, we like this one, we don't like this one. And as we go through that, then we can definitely really dial in on what style of home, what things are important to you as well. So custom home search is going to be important, but don't believe or don't think that I'm going to be one of those people that will just flood your inbox with pointless properties. I'll try and make sure it's relevant to what you're looking for. The next thing is going to be to schedule a visit to Henderson. Now, if you've been to the area as a tourist, that's completely different. And Obviously, when you're buying a home or looking to move to an area, there's different things that you want to consider. You want to go and drive the neighborhoods and get a feel for those neighborhoods as well. So if you are planning already to come here as a tourist, maybe just take an extra couple of days out of the touristy bits, or certainly a few hours each day, to just go and spend some time and, you know, see what it would be like living here in those neighborhoods. If you reach out to me, and again, I'll put my details down below there, my phone number and my email, and we have a conversation about it, I'll send you a list of addresses that could be local parks, local trails, local homes that may be on the market or not on the market, but are similar to what you're looking for, just for you to stick in your navigation and go and then not just go to that point of interest, but then go and drive around the local area as well, so you get a feel for it. If you're going to be in town and you're not going to have your own car or your own set of wheels, I'll happily do that for you. You know, I'll happily spend some time, and, you know, we can take a few hours and go and drive the neighborhoods as well, just so you can get a feel for those neighborhoods, and you can cross off some that you were thinking about, but now suddenly you're like, oh, maybe that's not going to work for us. It's too far away from the amenities, or it's too close to the mountains, or there's no walking trails, or I don't like the home styles. Whatever it is, you could cross it off. But you might also be surprised, and you might get things that are going to be added to that list, and areas that you weren't considering. Now suddenly it's like, wow, this is actually a great area, this could work for us. You won't know that though until you go and drive those areas and actually go through them all and have a little, you know, it doesn't take long, like maybe an hour, 2 hours, and you can knock out a few different communities, and those communities are all going to feel different, let me tell you. So definitely some time to do that. When we are going through the process as well, and when we are looking at homes, obviously I don't expect you to drop everything and just fly to come and visit a home. What I can do is I can then do a Zoom live link with you, and we can go on next best thing to you actually being here, we can go on a live Zoom call, and we can make it really interactive. I can do the property tour for you as well, and you can ask me questions. You can be like, hey, is it possible to go and have a look at this again, or look at this, or go and see what the local park is like, or what the neighborhood is like? So we can facilitate it that way as well, but nothing will beat first-hand experience. So if you can, try and come into town and visit those neighborhoods and drive those areas as well. The next point, and as I said, you know, this is in no particular order. Some people might put this at the first point, and some might put it further down. Not really in any particular order, but certainly things that you need to be thinking about is securing your financing. Now, if you don't have a lender and you are looking to finance your purchase by a mortgage, then definitely try and get in touch with a local lender. I work with an amazing partner, but I'm not going to force you to work with my partners. If you have someone in mind already, then that's absolutely fantastic. But if you don't, if you want some guidance, my lender is an absolute superstar. And I've seen him turn rocks that people thought were covered and move mountains to help people get loans that are really affordable for them. But if you have one already, then definitely use them as well. But ideally a local lender, as opposed to some of the broader ones that are across the states. If you can get a local lender, then that will definitely be in your best interest. If you're looking at buying a new construction home in Henderson, then some of those builders will have their own lenders, and some of them will offer you some fantastic incentives for going with their lender. Nothing wrong with that, but just make sure that the cost of what you're saving in terms of what they're giving you is not added in somewhere else. So just make sure, if you haven't got a realtor already or a real estate agent already, if you want to work with me, fantastic. I'll definitely make sure your interests are represented when you're dealing with new construction, because so many people make the mistake of dealing in a new construction home and just getting excited, registering with the builder, and they don't actually have anyone representing them, because the salespeople on site are actually just representing the builder and just have the builder's interest. Although they're really nice, really friendly, you want to have someone who's going to fight your corner and definitely be on your side. So if not me, then make sure you have another realtor to make sure those savings you're getting and those costs you're getting back at closing are not hidden somewhere else, that it is actually a good deal for you on the lending side. And also see if you have a local lender, if they can get you something similar as well, because sometimes they can do. So having those conversations and being transparent with everybody in the process is definitely going to be in your best interests. And then the last point is going to be managing the process and managing the emotions and the stress and everything else that there is to manage, because it is a process. And no matter where you are in that process, if you're just at the start in terms of just now deciding if Henderson is going to be an area that you want to consider, or if you've already considered it, you've already got your house on the market back in your home state and you're ready to come and move, wherever you are on that process, you still need to manage the process and manage the whole home buying, home selling, home renting process as well, because you are going to be, it is going to be dragging you all over the place. It's always stressful, even if you're in the same state going through this process, but when you're doing it out of state, it can be even more stressful. Obviously, my job as your real estate agent will be to try and alleviate that and take some of the pressure, take some of the stress away from you. And again, if you're looking for some help and some guidance, then definitely reach out. I'll put my details again below, so you can pause the screen and just take my details down and reach out to me. But if you've got a home to sell and you want to try and have those lining up with your home to buy, then you're going to want to make sure you're working with two realtors that are able to communicate and talk to each other for a start, and making sure that the timelines can work out. You're going to have different timelines that need to be met. So whether that's on you selling or you buying, again, you're going to have timelines around your due diligence, inspection, appraisal, if it's done on finance, when you get your CC&Rs from your HOA, if you're buying a HOA area, you're going to have those timelines as well. And then the close of escrow, which is normally all wrapped up within 30 days. So that's the period of time you'd have if you're selling your home and then also buying your home. So trying to get those two dates aligned is going to be fantastic. If you're coming to rent, then again, trying to make sure it all lines up and is working in a timeline that works for you. But just managing the process, managing your emotions, making sure you're not getting too high or too low, that you're still keeping your eyes firmly fixed on the prize. If you're really adamant that you want to move to Henderson and Henderson's going to be the area that you want to be in, then just keep that in your mind, because you are going to have days where it feels like it's not fantastic and things are going wrong or things are not going smooth. That said, you could have the smoothest two escrows or smoothest escrow in the whole wide world and not have too many hiccups. But I'd rather be prepared for the worst and hope for the best. And if I can hopefully make it a bit more easy and a bit more better, then that's a win for everyone. So if you can manage the process and have someone on your side that's helping you to manage that process as well, in terms of your trusted real estate advisor, then that's definitely going to help and definitely take some of that stress and pressure away from you. So that'll be my final point, just managing that process and managing the timelines, making sure you're doing your bit and your real estate agent is doing their bit, and everyone else involved in the process are doing their bit as well, to make sure everything is happening on time, smoothly, and no hiccups if possible. And that's it, guys. That's some really quick tips on what I think will make moving to Henderson a lot smoother, a lot easier, a lot stress-free for you. And hey, hopefully you've learned something. If there's some tips that I've covered there that you didn't think of before, pop that down in the comments below. Also, if you have made the move to Henderson or Las Vegas, or even if you just moved to a different state and there's some tips that you wish you would have known as well, then pop that down in the comments below. And you're not just helping me, but you're helping others who are watching these types of videos as well. If you haven't already, then please go ahead and subscribe. Tap on the bell for notifications so you'll be amongst the first to know about the local market conditions here in Las Vegas and Henderson, as well as everything there is to know about living in Las Vegas and Henderson. So please do subscribe. Also, while you're at it, then please go ahead and like the video. That way you're going to help the video go in front of more people who are looking at these types of videos and wanting to make the move to Henderson or Las Vegas and are still in that research phase. So definitely, if you found this useful, then please go ahead and like the video. Just as a reminder, if you are considering moving to Las Vegas, you can absolutely reach out to me, Las Vegas or Henderson. Definitely do reach out to me. You can give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email, and we can also jump on a Zoom and we can book that on the link below. And I really would love to help you out, making that move to Las Vegas and Henderson a lot less stressful, a lot easier, a lot more fun, and certainly a lot more enjoyable. So definitely do get in touch. Thank you to everyone who has already reached out to me. I've absolutely enjoyed it thoroughly. Whether we've closed, whether we're still in the middle, or whether we're still at the planning stage, I've enjoyed every single part of it. So thank you for all of the support. It really does mean a lot to me, and all of the kind words as well. It's really humbling to know that you guys out there are loving this content and enjoying watching my videos. So again, thank you so much. Until the next time though, guys, thank you for watching, and you take care.